Yeah, all right. Now you're like, boy, that took a long time, Mr. O'Leary, to get to what we were doing, but you can see what's happening. It's this for loop is cycling through the array based on this logic, which you're going to use over and over again, and then whatever is in between the curly brackets, it will produce, and it's filling this variable with this code. So let's show something else that you could do. Um, let's say I wanted that to be a bulleted list. Okay, so how would I do a bulleted list? We know what a bulleted list is. That's an LI, right? But I have to put the code in. So I put in quotes, I put whatever code I want. LI. Now remember, I have to, this is the, for lack of a better word, this is the variable. All right, this is the JavaScript stuff that I'm trying to put into this variable. So I need, whenever I'm including a variable or JavaScript or anything like that, I need to put in my plus sign. So the code that the browser is going to look at and use to display stuff needs to be in quotes, but then this is going to be plus, and then here I would do my end li. All right. Now, those of you who are sharp probably seeing that there's a problem here. Let's run what that looks like. So again, it's cycling through the array, taking whatever this value is and putting it in between my HTML tags in order to display it a certain way. All right. Ultimately, it probably shows up. That may have a browser issue, but if you really want to make it right, then you come down here, and what I need to do is put in my begin end tags. All right. So now I'm creating the URL, or I'm sorry, the HTML for the ordered list here, adding it to this variable, which now has all my LIs in it. Okay. Save work, show web page. And now what that does is it cycles through and creates my list item HTML here, and then it plops it in between the ordered list begin and end tags here. But remember, very important, quotes around the HTML plus whatever the variable or array elements or strings or whatever I'm doing here, and that's how it combines together. Save work, show web page, right? Now, I'm going to show you something else here, and this is important because this is where we really can really screw things up. You can do all sorts of stylistic stuff here as well. So watch this. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create a tag, a CSS tag. Okay. So I'm going to come in here and say class equals, and I'm going to call it O'Leary list item. Now look what I did. I didn't use quotes here. I used single quote. Very, 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 very important. You will screw up your JavaScript if you put in double quotes there, because this part, JavaScript, is using the double quotes to recognize that this is HTML or CSS or whatever, and to separate it from your elements. So you need to, when you're doing anything with what you typically would use a quote for, you need to put in here. So let me put, just to show you, style O'Leary list item, and let's put something cool in here. So we'll do a float left, we'll do a width 100 pixel, we'll do a background color blue, we'll do a border 1 pixel solid black, and we'll do a padding of 3 pixels, maybe make that 150, and float left, blah blah blah. Alright, so let's do this. Now, of course, this is all in the style tag, but what I'm doing is I'm basically creating on the fly a stylistic web page based only on the elements of the array. Let's put a few things in here so that that doesn't look so goofy. Margin equals 2 pixels, and I'm going to display it in line. All right, that's pretty neat, right? And then, of course, you guys know how to do this with regards to hovering. I'm going to just change it and make the opacity 0.7, right? And that's going to, when it hovers over it, it's going to do this little thing. And I am a big fan, just to put a few things in here, I'm a big fan of using the cursor pointer so that people know that they are over a web page. Create the list. So now that looks pretty neat, right? And there's all kinds of stuff that you can do, and obviously I would probably want the font here to be, font color to be white so that I can see it a little better. All right. Whoops, what happened there? Oh, color white, right. Sorry. All right. So there's that. And what's neat about this, in my opinion, is that you have a stylistic page, but now I'm basically able to create the elements based on this. And all I did, go into review, is I started off with an array, and you start off with an array. You create your function. You initialize whatever the variable you're going to use to display the information, right? And then you do this loop. And this is the real important thing. And you're going to use this over and over again. So you have for, and then in here, just like with an if statement, you have a parentheses, and this is where your logic is, okay? For I, and you're initializing your counter, then you're setting your counter up that it's going to keep checking for as long as this is less than the number of elements in the array, and then it's going to add 1, okay? And then whatever you have in between your curly brackets, you're going to run and operate. And so what I do here is I take my placeholder variable, and then I use plus equals, which basically means I want to add this. Whoops. Oh boy. I don't know what I did there. All right, let me get out of that. You want to add this to itself. So I'm going to take this collection of tags and variables, and I'm going to add it to this variable every time I run through that list. So this just keeps getting bigger and bigger, okay? And then afterwards, of course, I use my document get element ID to fill my div tag with the text. And then you saw I just created this as a beginner end. All right, so what I want you to do, your assignment, is to use the for loop to generate a list. So basically you're going to do what I just did. This might be a little frustrating just because if you miss anything, if you have, if you capitalize something that you shouldn't be capitalized, if you have an errant quote or anything like that, it's going to be a challenge. But what I want you to do is keep going back to the sample code if you need help with it, okay? And then what I'm going to show you in the next lesson is how to use the JavaScript in the array to be able to give your user the ability to add elements to your array, so they can basically start dynamically creating the website on the page. All right, so get started with this. We're just going to have this one thing. I want you to use the for loop to generate a list from the country array, and if you want to, and I'd certainly recommend it, go in here and create some style around your array. All right? Good luck.